Okay, guys, Dr. Kelsey Latimer here again. And for Unit 3, I also want to talk to you a little bit about the mind-body connection. This is an important one, and because we are human beings, we are connected in our minds and bodies. They are not two separate beings. Although we would like to maybe have that be like that sometimes, especially in our culture, I can tell you we absolutely overvalue what's in our mind rather than what's going on in our bodies, rather than maybe Eastern culture, which is a little bit different. They focus much more about the mind-body connection. And there's lots of studies on this. Both myself and Dr. Ariane Machine have done a lot of research in our dissertations on the sociocultural impact and how it impacts us in many ways, including our relationship with food and disconnecting our minds and our bodies. That's an important and necessary step in the process of having a poor relationship with food. So this isn't particularly about food, but it is such a great example about how we overall as a culture really take ourselves away from our minds and our bodies. We over-focus up here and we disconnect from what's going on down here. And we do that, even from the time that we're born. You might hear things like, did your child walk on time, talk on time? Did they read and write on time? All of those things. So a lot of our skills and abilities are measured against a specific achievement chart from the time that we're very, very little. Even before that, even when the mom's stomach is being measured, when the child is still in the womb, we're automatically being shifted from focusing on what things feel like to what we're thinking about. Now, of course, that's a helpful thing. It's great that we have these big, huge brains that we've been born with, and that makes us different than pretty much any other animal on this planet. However, it can cause us a lot of issues too, because the things that we naturally did very well when we were babies, such as being in tune with our hunger, being in tune with our emotions, and being able to cry when we needed something and ask for something when it was necessary, we're not really able to do that very well as we grow up, because we override it with what's up here and telling ourselves, you shouldn't do this, or it's not time to do that, or, we overthink things. And so it disconnects our minds and our bodies. So what can happen is, since we've practiced going up to our minds, we can easily get very anxious or overwhelmed with emotion, but not even recognize it as emotion because we've disconnected from the emotion. So we may feel it in our bodies. We may feel the physical sensation of sadness or heaviness. You may feel the physical sensation of anxiety. I know I do a lot. That's my first indicator too, that there's something going on with me as I feel it in my body. So what do we do with that? Well, a lot of times your clients, and maybe even yourself, this is something for you to practice as you are becoming a coach, because this is a new thing for a lot of you. And even if it's not a new thing, you're practicing new skills that we're teaching you that you probably haven't learned before. So you're gonna have a little anxiety, and that's a good thing. That keeps you on the ball, that keeps you competent, that keeps you focused on learning. So that's a helpful thing, but too much is not helpful because it distracts from what's going on between you and your client. It's going to lead to that disconnection. Talking about Rogers and the congruence and the incongruence, you're going to feel incongruent between yourself and the person in front of you. There's going to be a disconnect. That client's going to feel it and you're going to feel it. So you have to learn to quiet what's going on up here and learn to just sense what's happening in here so you can pick up on what's happening with the individual in front of you. So we've talked about grounding, and that is one way you can absolutely help yourself break that mind-body connection, that negative mind-body cycle, which I'll talk about in a second, and then reverse it into something good for yourself. And deep breathing is the other one. Deep breathing is probably the quickest way because it immediately shifts our pulse rate and how quickly our heart beats. And so it can immediately calm the physical sensations that are going on in our body. So I want you to think about this first and foremost. I want you to think about kind of a figure 8 and your mind is up here and your body's here. So we want to say that they're here and here. They're not. They're interconnected. It's a figure eight. So each one is going to impact the other. And if you don't believe me, I want you to think about a moment that you did feel anxious. Perhaps you were public speaking or something big was going on. And you all of a sudden felt maybe your heart pounding a little bit. And that made you really anxious because you recognize, oh my God, my heart's pounding, so I must be anxious right now. And I'm about to get on that stage. And then what's going to happen if my heart is pounding really fast on that stage and like I start sweating? What's going to happen? People are going to start looking at me. And if they start looking at me, then, oh my gosh, I'm going to like tense up, and I can even feel myself tensing right now as I'm saying this. And okay, so what happens? So each one starts to spike the other. Because your mind is going, then your body starts going faster too. Your breathing starts speeding up. Your breathing becomes shallow at the same time as it starts speeding up. It's coming from up here rather than diaphragmatic breathing, which is down in your belly. Singers are really good about doing diaphragmatic breathing, people who are musicians. And when that happens, and our heart's racing and our we're getting warm, and for some people their stomach may cramp, for some people their muscles may tense, particularly around this area here. They may get a headache because of that. They may start squinting, grimacing. There's a lot of different things that are happening in our body, and that starts kicking in the fight or flight. We start getting really anxious at that point, and then the mind starts kicking too. And man, we can really, with our thoughts, kick that into overdrive and have ourselves running off that stage. So what do we need to do? Well, just like the mind and the body are connected in a negative way, in the way that we don't want it to when we're feeling overwhelmed, we can use that to our advantage. If we know that, we can use that to help decrease using that same process. So we can intervene on either level. Later on, we'll talk about intervening with your thoughts. But right now, we're going to talk about intervening on your body level. So one of the quickest ways to do that is through diaphragmatic deep breathing. And that means breathing in an count of 4, holding for a count of 7, and breathing out for a count of 8. And we're actually including Dr. Andrew Weil, who is a Harvard grad, physician, brilliant person. He came up with this and talks about this breath, the 4-7-8 breath, that has scientific data to back it up. And it's connected in the video after this. You will see that. Just go ahead and press on it in the course, and he'll actually take you through the breathing exercise. I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you guys helping you understand the science behind it. Indeed, it does work, and help your clients by explaining that mind-body connection. That, I think, is a key of really helping your clients to move on and feel empowered in everything that they do. Not only are we carrying these magic keys, but we're giving it to them. And so once they understand and know their bodies and know themselves, they no longer need us. And the best day, really, truly the best day for you as a coach is when your client tells you they don't need you. That means you've done your job and they've internalized everything that you've told them, and they can go off and be an incredible productive member of society without needing you there as their backup. So it's an awesome moment, and I can't wait for you guys to experience that. And the only way to do that is to help them really, truly be their own life. Teach them not only the skills, but the science behind the skills, so they can understand why things are working and feel empowered by that. Okay, thanks guys. We'll see you in the next training video.